Hey there, everybody. Pete Pardo here from Sea of Tranquility. Welcome to another edition of Top 10 Songs. Today we are going to tackle my 10 favorite songs from English art rock, prog rock band, pop band, jazzy band, whatever you want to call them, Supertramp. All right? Pretty popular band, and ironically, actually, no, I set it up this way. It's kind of a cool day that we're doing it today because today also marks the 40th anniversary of the release of their breakthrough big hit album, especially here in the U.S., Breakfast in America. So March 29th, 1979, 40 years ago. Today, does that make me feel old? I was 13 years old when that was released. Today marks the 40th anniversary of that landmark multi-platinum selling album with so many hit singles and memorable tunes. And it is a great one, but they have a lot of really good albums. As I found out when I was trying to put together my 10 favorite songs. There's so many great songs. This is a band with a really, really lush catalog of just instantly memorable hook-laden tunes. And, you know, they always kind of got labeled as a prog band, a progressive rock band. And while, you know, a good amount of their material kind of falls in that line, they were always much poppier than your average 70s pop band. Or prog band, I should say, and little jazzy embellishments along the way. I'd say they had more in line, more in common with some of the Canterbury bands, although not as busy instrumentally speaking, but, you know, the fact they were throwing some saxophone and flute and the piano, electric piano and things like that. Their music was very kind of whimsical and lighthearted at times, but when they wanted to dial up the drama, they certainly could do that as well. So my top 10, I love a lot of their hits. I really do. But man, they got a lot of deep album cuts. So my top 10's got a few of the hits in there, some not so much. So it was pretty tough putting this together. So let me get started here with my number 10. So I'm going to call it out. I got to do it for the first time. I just could not decide on my number 10. I had two songs that were vying to make it onto my list, and I just could not see myself choosing one over the other. So I have a tie for number 10. I'm going to pull a Steve Keeler on you. He did it with me on the Stones show we did recently, so I'm going to do it here. All right? You know, I can do it every now and then. This is my mulligan, I guess, or well, whatever you want to call it. So my number 10, a tie between Cannonball off the Brother Where You Bound, tied with Goodbye Stranger from Breakfast in America. You know, the Cannonball tune is a very cool, kind of like jazzy pop song. Little bits of fusion thrown in there. Very kind of adventurous. Very, very cool. From a very, very strong album. Okay? That's the first album where, without Roger Hodgson. So, bunch of great tunes on that album. But, you know, the Goodbye Stranger, the more I thought about it, the more I'm like, God, how can I leave that tune off this list? Because it's just such a great pop tune, and it's got that, you know, really, really good guitar break towards the end from Roger, and just really cool instrumentation. It's quirky, it's fun, it's just a great tune, and I just could not see myself leaving it off here. So I'm like, you know what? We got a tie. So that is what it is, right? Coming in, number 9, off the Even in the Quietest Moments album, which is a really good one. Babaji, or however he says it, Babaji. I love that song. Great hooks, kind of an intoxicating tune. I love the vocals. Again, this is one of those bands that did kind of like these understated musical arrangements that just kind of sucked you in, and then you have the dual vocal attack, and, you know, both singers were just so good. Completely different voices, right? That's just a great tune. Love that. Coming in at number 8, they're epic. You know, you talk about like the prog rock epic tunes from the 70s, and everybody throws out the usual suspects, right? You throw out, you know, Supper's Ready and Close to the Edge, and, you know, The Bunch by Rush, and, you know, on and on and on. You know, Jethro Tull, but not many people mention the title track Brother Where You Bound, right? Off that album. It's like, what, 16 minutes long? Goes through these different movements, and there's bits of jazz, bits of prog, little pop, kind of a little bluesy flair here and there. It's just a really well-constructed epic tune that I think most people forget about. So that comes in at number 8 for me. Coming in at number 7, off of Crisis. What Crisis? What song, you may ask? How about Ain't Nobody But Me? Catchy as hell, right? Quirky, jazzy. I love it. It's just such an addicting tune that I've always really dug. And again, another underrated album. You know, most people, when you talk about Supertramp, they always throw out Breakfast in America and Crime of the Century, and you know, arguably their two greatest. But there's a lot of stellar tunes off of those other albums, which are all really, really strong. So that comes in at number 7. Coming in at number 6, a big hit for the band, and probably for me, of their like mega radio hits, my favorite, The Logical Song. It's just, you know, you hear that and you're humming it for days, right? And it just makes such perfect sense. It's, again, hard to classify or categorize a tune like that. You know, at its core, it's just a great pop song, right? That's these guys were so great at doing that, but they threw in all these little bits that kind of made it a little different. And I think The Logical Song, you know, again, if I want to hear like one of the major radio hits from them, that's the one I go to most of the time. But they're all really good. Coming in at number 5 from Crime of the Century, Bloody Well Right. That's right. You're bloody well right. You got a bloody right to say. A great tune. Again, quirky British pop mixed in with a little hard rock and prog. Love it. Great song. A little jazz in there too, right? They always sneak in a little bit of jazz in all their songs. Coming in at number 4, the title track to the album that today is the anniversary of, right? 40 years, Breakfast in America. I love Breakfast in America. My favorite song off that album, actually. You know, an album full of hits, and that one was kind of like a minor hit, but I like that song. You know, again, of the more minor tunes off that album, if you can call it that, that's my favorite. Okay, of the hits, it's The Logical Song. Off the rest of the deep album cuts, it's Breakfast in America. And I love the pacing of the song. I love the vocals. You know, Roger's like kind of high-pitched vocals there. He's got that very kind of English kind of thing going on. Just love it to death. So that comes in at number 4. All right, the top 3, all off the same album. I'm a big fan of Crime of the Century, okay? That is like a perfectly recorded, sonically amazing album full of everything that's great about Supertramp. And I could have done my whole top 10 filled with Crime of the Century tunes if I really, really wanted to. But obviously, I have a lot of the songs I really, really like as well. But these top 3 here, hard to beat them, in my opinion. Your mileage may vary. Coming in number 3, Rudy. Drama. Melodies. Like I said, understated instrumentation. It's a song that just kind of drifts and beautiful stuff. Coming in at number 2, could have made my number 1. All right, these top 2 are damn special songs for me. Hide in Your Shell. I love the saxophone melody in that. It's just gets me every time. It's just so gorgeous, and the tune is just so well constructed. Can't beat it. Just can't beat it. And coming in at number 1, you know what? It's a great song regardless, but it's the last like minute and a half, 2 minutes that just absolutely slay me. That awesome piano, and it's just a tune that builds and builds into this just lush crescendo towards the end. And again, the piano is just amazing. It's the title track, Crime of the Century. Just love it, man. I just love that album. You know, that's like one of those, I think I read somewhere someone was kind of comparing Crime of the Century from a songwriting and just overall sonic production perspective on, you know, up there with, you know, stuff like Dark Side of the Moon and some of those Alan Parsons Project out classic albums, right? Maybe. I don't know. Crime of the Century is just great. It's just really great. So that's my number 1. So let's do some honorable mentions, shall we? How about from that very, very first album? Kind of a album nobody talks about. Those first 2 albums, nobody really talks about much. But there's some pretty good stuff on there. It's a Long Road, Words Unspoken, Maybe I'm a Beggar. That's quite good. Nothing to Show. And how about the awesome Try Again, right? Talk about prog, right? But the first album is kind of bizarre. It's a little psyche, a little folky, a little proggy. You know, you're starting to see a little bit of what would eventually become Supertramp, but not quite. You know, the second album, Indelibly Stamped, Your Papa Don't Mind, good, kind of almost like a boogie rocker. Aries, great tune. Other songs from Crime of the Century. I felt really bad leaving School off my list because, God, that's awesome. but can't put them all on there. Asylum, okay. How about Dreamer? We're nothing but a dreamer. That for me is kind of that Dreamer foreshadowed some of the really great catchy pop stuff that Roger would soon start writing on the albums coming up right after it. From Crisis, What Crisis? How about Sister Moonshine? All right, another tune I hated leaving off. A Soapbox Opera. Another Man's Woman. That's a great one. Really good. Lady, The Meaning. Right, great album. Even in the Quietest Moments. How about Give a Little Bit? Da-dum, da-dum, all right. Again, another alluring hook-laden song. How about Loverboy? How about the title track, even in the Quietest Moments? From Now On, another really, really memorable tune. And Fool's Overture. How about that for like bombastic prog, right? Pretty cool. From Breakfast in America, the album we are celebrating today, Gone Hollywood, is a great song. I think next to the title track, probably my number 2 favorite of the deep cuts on that album. Take the Long Way Home. It's a great song. Just Another Nervous Wreck. Another really, really strong deep cut on that album. And Child Division. How great is that song? I mean, the Breakfast in America album is really, really, really great. It sold millions for a reason. Not just because it had those big hits. A lot of great deep tracks on there. What else we got here? From Famous Last Words, how about Crazy? That's a great tune. I wanted to squeeze that into my top 10. I like that one a lot. It's Raining Again, another catchy pop tune. C'est Le Bon, or however they say that. It's a good tune, really mellow, but I like it. Waiting So Long, Don't Leave Me Now. From Brother, Where Are You Bound? And how cool is like the guitar work of David Gilmour, of course, guesting on that album. Really good. Better Days. Better Days is a great tune, okay? And Free as a Bird. I think that the less said about the Free as a Bird album, the better, right? I think most of you who are Supertramp fans probably agree with me on that. I know there might be a couple of you saying, no, Free as a Bird is great. Nah, it ain't great. Not in my opinion, anyway. That's just them trying to be a synth pop band, and there's like all this like kind of club stuff going on there, and awful. I don't know what they were thinking, but and obviously the record sales of that album proved that it was not a good album. I don't think the guys in the band talk too kindly of it today, looking back on it. So anyway, but whatever. So let's count down again my top 10. So coming in at number 1, Crime of the Century. Number 2, Hide in Your Shell. Number 3, Rudy. Number 4, Breakfast in America. Number 5, Bloody Well Right. Number 6, The Logical Song. Number 7, Ain't Nobody But Me. Number 8, Brother, Where You Bound. Number 9, Babaji, whatever. And number 10, a tie between Cannonball and Goodbye Stranger. All right? So there we have it. Top 10 songs, Supertramp, 40th anniversary today of the Breakfast in America album, March 29th, 1979. People go out and listen to Breakfast in America today in celebration of a great album from a great band. While you're doing that, visit us on the web at www.seaoftranquility.org. We're on Facebook. We're on Twitter. Of course, we're here on the mighty YouTube often. A lot of good stuff coming up. Check out my announcement from the other day where we talk about a lot of the programming that's coming in the weeks and months ahead. So I'm not going to update you every video anymore. I'm going to do one of those once a week to kind of talk about what's upcoming. A lot of great stuff. So stay tuned. Visit us on Facebook. All right. Daily polls happening there. We'd love to see your votes. We're on Twitter announcing stuff. And, of course, we're on YouTube often. And on the website, we got reviews of all sorts of cool stuff. So check that out, too. So we'll see you real soon, guys. Bye-bye.